there, it's Kevin with RogueDeckBuilder.com here with this week's episode of the Tuesday Brewsday. Gonna try to bring back Rogue's Alley, which is gonna be more in-depth, play a new deck, play a league with it, and see how well we do. That will probably come back in February. So basically the Tuesday Brewsday, I'll probably do a video series on Tuesday showing our last week's brews or one of the key brews that we brewed in the live stream, and then Tuesday late at night we'll try to do some live stream. So it might actually be Wednesday morning for some of you on the East Coast. But I do have a few other commitments earlier on today, but I'm going to try to get Tasty on and do some, or Tyler, and we'll brew some decks for the live stream. However, last week we brewed this awesome Azor's Gateway deck that did quite well. I was very impressed with how the deck performed, and I'm just going to go down a quick deck tech of how it functions. So the focus of this deck is trying to flip Azor's Gateway, and then you could add mana to your mana pool where X is your life total. So we want a spell that can actually deal off or have something to do with X. So there's two great ones in standard at the moment. There's Torment of Hailfire and there's Cut to Ribbons. Cut to Ribbons is especially good because you can use it early to destroy a creature, and then later on you can ribbons them to death. So I'm actually quite impressed with this deck because it absolutely does not need the combo. We have a secondary piece in Primal Amulet that if it gets flipped, it also copies a spell, so a big Torment of Hailfire or Cut Ribbons can finish off the game. But I'm actually winning a lot of the games just with Chandra and the Chandra ult, or even with Angrath. So the alternate win condition of these planeswalkers does come into effect. So we're going to run 25 lands with this deck. We want to be able to hit land drops every turn. So I thought about maybe going down a card and running something like Tormenting Voice or Cathartic Reunion, but I think both those cards are very weak right now in the meta. You never want to be running those cards when there's any sort of counter spells because they're just blowouts, because you have to actually discard as part of the activation of the utilizing or the cast of either Cathartic Reunion or Tormenting Voice. I also thought about splashing blue for Search for Azcanta as well as Scarab God, because I think that it's just better than something like the Scorpion God, even though I've been very impressed with the Scorpion God. And Search for Azcanta gives us that draw, that kind of renewable resource of drawing cards. The same can sort of be said for the Scarab God. We also do get some neat other stuff with blue. I think that maybe even putting like a Glimmer or what's another card that the counter spell where you look at the top 3 cards of your library as well. Something like that is actually exceptionally good in a deck like this. We also get more cycling lands, so the land count's not nearly as bad. Or because we can just cycle those away. So a blue is another brew for another day, though, if it's worthwhile just to subtly splash it. So with this deck, we're going to run the Canyon Slows, as well as the Dragon's Skull Summits, 4 of each. Desert of the Glorified, because black is probably the color that we need to hit doubles of more often. And then we're going to run Ifnir Deadlands, and that's another reasons why we're running the deserts, because we can cycle them off of Ifnir. I want a Field of Ruin. This is just in here to kill the Search for Azcantas when they flip, or if there's another land that we need to take care of. Just a 1 of is fine. 4 mountains, we have 5 swamps, and 2 scavenger grounds. So that's basically the gist of the deck. A lot of these cards are going to be perfect for Azor's Gateway, either setting up an Azor's Gateway or then getting rid of it later on. And that's why I've been so impressed with this card. It absolutely does get killed by a ton of Abrades in the format, and a lot of other just the Marta vehicles is on the rise, so we're seeing a lot of artifact removal, but it doesn't feel bad if they actually spend like an Abrade on Azor's Gateway. Yes, it's one of our win cons, but usually it's just used as a looter, and it's just 2 mana. It's not a huge investment. It's very similar to the Treasure Map, which is another card you absolutely can run in the deck. Right now I am siding. I think that Moment of Craving is the slot for Treasure Map in the sideboard, and I decided for Moment of Craving over Treasure Map just to give us a little more oomph versus the aggro-based decks. But I'm actually looking at this, we might not need it. Like I'm going to actually go with Treasure Maps here for this particular game, because Treasure Maps is a draw 3 card and a scry card that I actually do I think is pretty decent in the meta at the moment, and I think just a 2 of them in the sideboard to bring in versus those control decks is the right route to go. But anyway, so our 1-drops are going to be Fatal Push and Magma Spray. This is going to take care of any of the early game, and then we have a Braids and Azor's Gateway. This is our 2-drop because we can usually rely on getting rid of an Azor's Gateway with an Azor's Gateway. So how this card works, you have to have 5 different cards with converted mana cost, different converted mana cost to transform it. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and that will get you to 5. Or if you're missing one, we do have some 5-drops that with our Devastation or an Angrath or the Scorpion God that we can also put under the Azor's Gateway. So it actually does flip quite often. If not, this is just a loot per turn, which is actually very, very powerful. The 3-drop is Doomfall. Doomfall is really, really good, as it's good versus both the indestructible gods or anything else with indestructible. At that point, if you can get rid of the other creatures, you have a way to then exile the cards forever. So Scarab Gods, Hazarets, etc. Then we have Essence Extraction. It's just another 3-mana spell. It does 3 damage and gain 3 life. Sweltering Suns, they have cycling on them, so you can deal 3 damage to each creature and then cycle it. And then we have one of Unlicensed Disintegration, because it's also kind of fun with a Primal Amulet. Or if you have Azor's Gateway, it's a way to dish off some damage. You got to think that I've won a lot of games just by like Unlicensed Disintegration, a few Chandra ticks, and then Flashback of Ribbons, and then Torment of Hailfire for something like 7. And they don't have the cards at that point to successfully discard enough cards or sack enough permanents for the Torment of Hailfire just to kill them. You'll be surprised at how often you don't need any sort of combo pieces. Our finishers are going to be the more Planeswalkers type cards just to get in that initial damage. And we can win with these sort of cards. So I like the angle that Unlicensed Disintegration allows. If artifacts ever do become a thing of the past, which I highly doubt it, then we could put Lightning Strike in this slot. But again, a Braid is just much better than Lightning Strike at the moment. We have the Vraska's Contempts at the 2-drop plus 2 more in the side because they're great versus a lot of decks, a lot of the control decks. They're still pretty decent to get rid of Scarab Gods. Chandra is a 3 of. It's our alternate win condition. In fact, this is more of our primary win condition. The deck has some synergy with the Braid and Cut, as you can plus it for the mana and still protect by killing one of their creatures. 2 Primal Amulets. This is a card that reduces the cost of spells, which means that it ramps toward Torment or Ribbons. And then if it flips, it will just end up copying them. 2 Hour of Devastation is just to completely wipe the board. You got to be careful with Chandra, though. You don't want to be using this when you have one of your Chandras out, or an Angrath. And then we do have a Scorpion God and Angrath. So Scorpion God is the only creature in our deck. It's got, I like it over the Phoenix that just came out. I tried the Phoenix. It just doesn't seem to work with what we're trying to do in this deck. So I like something like the Scorpion God, or we do have 2 Gaunties in the sideboard. So we have nothing for a lot of our opponent's creature removals like Fatal Push to even hit. And it's a pretty decent finisher. It also is not bad with drawing cards, the Scorpion God. Whenever a creature with a -1/-1 counter on it dies, you draw a card. I've actually used the Scorpion God's ability on some of my own creatures before. So I guess this only came into play when I had Gaunty. Just when Gaunty died, then I could draw a card. So it's kind of fun that way. With it just says whenever a creature with a -1 counter dies. I think I've also that was another play that I made just to draw some cards one time. So my opponent was using a kill spell on the Scorpion God, and in response, I think I used a Ithner Deadlands to put 2 counters on the Scorpion God just so that it could draw me some cards, and then it still returns. So it was just a way for me to dig deeper. So there's some little nuances like that you can actually end up doing. And again, we talked about the finishers. Sideboard, the dresses, we have 4 of them because they swap out great with Fatal Push. So Fatal Push comes out, Dress comes in, and usually Magma Spray will come out as well. Chandra's Defeat in some of those games will come out. So you'll bring in 5, take out 6, bring in 5. Usually you want to have these mirrored in your sideboard, but it was kind of awkward to then mirror the rest of the cards. Treasure Maps can come out for Braids. The Dispossessed and Lost Legacy can come out for Essence Extractions and Sweltering Suns. Gaunties can come out for Primal Amulets, or if you just want to go heavier on the 4-drop, we have Gaunties, and Angrath is typically good versus many decks. So that's kind of the deck tech that I've got going with this deck so far. We're going to play some matchups, probably throw it in a league, and see how well we do. So I'll see you in the matchups. You can follow along in the timestamp in the description as well as in the comment section. Okay, so match number 1, we have the Azor's Gateway Already in our hand, we have a cut and an essence extraction. This is going to be really good versus creature-based decks. It might be not so good versus decks that are not using creatures. So black, typically, there is some vampire decks running around with the Orzhov vampires. Typically, mono black aggro is still a thing, red black aggro, but usually a first turn swamp go is indicative of a more grindy control based deck. So I think that we don't see have a red source in sight. We're just going to go ahead and play the canyon and pass the turn, as I don't want to cycle it away. We usually want the 2 red sources, and then we're good to go. And there's an Aether up, so actually this looks like Grixis energy. So if the opponent puts out, yeah, we have to cut this next turn. So does still have the turn 1 Aether Hub into a Glint-Sleeve Siphoner draw, which is pretty good. I'm wondering if cut or a braid is better here. I think a braid for a Torrential Gearhulk might be a little bit better. But cut actually gets rid of nothing that a braid does. Okay, so yeah, because there's nothing, I don't think there's anything in the format we need to worry about that 4 damage does. So we'll just go ahead and kill the Glint-Sleeve Siphoner. Very annoying card. Does gain some energy for the Virtuoso, but we do have sweepers in this deck that can kill the Virtuoso. Also, it looks like my opponent might be a little bit. Let's see, yeah. So the braid actually does kill Rishkar here too. So we'll actually probably end up using an essence extraction right now, and so this is actually Soul Tie. So I don't think we give ourselves a turn here, because this can actually. You know what? Actually, this is probably just green black, not just Soul Tie. We haven't seen any reason to think otherwise, and so we'll keep the Rishkar down. I could go Azor's Gateway and just start it, but again, I don't want to get ramped into something that then I'm going to regret later on. So we'll just Essence Extraction the Rishkar and pass the turn using my instances of sorceries, just because we don't want that 1 mana to tap for anything. So opponent is struggling with the green, which is a good sign. And Winding Constrictor is kind of weak here. Once again, we'll probably just end up abrading this thing. So Soul Tie is actually right, unless they're just using the pools for something else. So we'll go ahead and throw out the last mountain and throw out the Abrade, and then throw out the Azor's Gateway. And now we are online. We've taken care of 3 of our opponents. Got to think they have some sort of Fatal Push, Vraska's Contempt in hand. Yep, that's what I assumed was going on. Or a Hostage Taker. I'm sure that's what the splash is for. So here we have a pretty good, I don't know, I think the Scavenger Grounds is probably something I don't want to cycle away, just in case there is a Scarab God that comes out. The Ifnir Deadlands, though, also. So let's just activate the Azor's Gateway at the moment, and this gives us a draw, then so I can throw the Abrade underneath. Do you know what? I think we put, I honestly think we put the Scavenger Grounds in the underneath. I'd rather have an Ifnir Deadlands. I think it's going to be more viable later on, and we'll Primal Amulet here. So I mean, I do want the Scavenger Grounds. Like I said, if we just get blown out by the Scarab God here, that is an awful feeling. But we can cut whatever he brings out. Yeah, maybe I should have kept that Scavenger Grounds in. Just another Rishkar. It's something I can kill. Again, my opponent does not have the Blossoming Defense up. We can cut or use cut. So I'd rather, let's go ahead and just utilize the Azor Gateway, because I do want it to flip. Scorpion God is kind of cool here. So I think I'd rather have the Braid underneath. That gives us our 2. That's easier. This one gives us our 4 if we put cut underneath. Yeah, I think we're just going to go for a Braid. Probably should have cycled first. I could just go another land and just not worry about it, or I could just put the Scorpion God. Because I do think my opponent could have Hostage Taker or Vraska's Contempt. I'm going to go with Scorpion God. So I have a 5 and a 1. And that gives us, once again, something to do with a Braid. And I can actually utilize less mana here. So let's just go ahead and cycle. the Canyon Slow. And there's a Azor's Gateway. I'm glad I didn't do that because now we can put the Azor's Gateway under the 2. And we'll go ahead and just kill Rishkar number 2. And put a counter on the Primal Amulet. So in very good shape. So you have a 0 and a 5. So we need a 2 and a 1. My opponent does not have another answer so far. He's probably struggling with that double green if they're using the Gear Hulk. There's a Magma Spray. That's kind of fun for later on. We'll just go ahead and Azor Gateway and Azor's Gateway. And I think I do want to cycle this right now. And let's go ahead and Doomfall. Take a gander. See if we can get out of Scarab God. Essence Scatter, Jadelight Ranger, Fatal Push. The Ranger is probably the better thing here. Don't care about an Essence Scatter. Fatal Push doesn't hit anything. So yeah, my opponent was struggling on the green, so let's exile a Jadelight Ranger. So my opponent can cast a Jadelight Ranger and maybe get some lands, some value there. But we're still in pretty good shape with now having a 1-drop we can get rid of with the Gateway. A lot of dead cards, so why I like running this deck. Walking Ballista just on 1, so my opponent's keeping up Essex Extraction, which I think is meh, pretty meh. So I can go ahead and kill the Walking Ballista with a Magma Spray to flip over Field of Ruin. I can take care of the Fetid Pools or the Oasis, but that just allows my opponent. I think that we're just going to go with the Gateway again and see what we need underneath. So this is getting close. Sweltering Suns, we do not have a 3. So I'm going to go ahead and throw that underneath. So 0, 2, 3, and 5. That gives us the ability just to Magma Spray, or do we want another cut in the... I think I'd rather have a cut in the graveyard, to be honest. Yeah, we'll cut it. I'm going to take a damage here, but not a big deal. And I could actually just use another ribbons or a cut ribbons here just for some damage since we have an additional one. I think that's fine just to flip it over. And now we are really in the driver's seat. A lot of dead cards in my opponent's hand still. Does find the second green source for the Jadelight Ranger. But, again, we are still in very good shape here with the Magma Spray flipping over. Fatal Push or Magma Spray. I think we'll just go ahead and flip over the Fatal Push because Magma Spray is a little more relevant. And that is going to be lethal by a bazillion. So we'll add black, and what do we just, that's plenty of mana right there. As my opponent is going to take 26 times 2. We actually just did 52 damage in our first match. Alrighty, so I think that our opponent's going to try to bring in some hate. I'm wondering if we want to bring in Duresses. So, like, Magma Sprays are quite good still. I'm not sure if Fatal... We're just going to switch out the Fatal Pushes for Duresses. Like, we still hit Glint Sleeve Siphoners. Sweltering Sun still does hit a lot of cards in my opponent's deck. So does Essence Extraction. So does Abrade. I'm thinking Angrath is actually good in this matchup because I can take opposing creatures. Gaunty is something I need to bring in, though, because it gives me some pretty decent outs. I don't think that Vraska's Contempt is... Just a 2 of Vraska's Contempt is still probably the right number. We don't want to go down in a lot of our creature removal. I think that maybe Primal Amulet just becomes a liability in this match, so we're going to take 1 out. And same thing with the Scorpion God. I'm not sure if Scorpion God or maybe do we want the other Angrath in? Hour of Devastation, is it going to do enough for sweeper wise? I mean, I understand that it gets... I'm going to keep in 1 Hour of Devastation, bring in the other Angrath. Maybe take out a land on the play. This Field of Ruin, something we don't need, go to 24. I don't know if Search Razcanta comes in. It's kind of awkward because everything is good here. I could take out a 1 of Torment of Hailfire, but we do want to find one. I think we'll do that. Take out a 1. I usually like to take out 2. So this could allow like another Fatal Push back in, or allow for that Hour of Devastation to come back in. I think Fatal Push is actually not bad. Is it better than actually like a Braid? What does Fatal Push hit that a Braid? Well, yeah, I think we need pushes. This is a... So possibly we're just gonna go down in the Duresses. We're gonna do 3 and 2. Whereas Magma Spray, now I'm thinking about Magma Spray is actually worse than Fatal Push. And we can go 3 Duresses. All right, we'll try it. Not a lot of bad cards in this matchup. Everything is pretty much... Yeah, you know what? I probably should have taken out all the Primal Amulets. This is an interesting hand. It's got Doomfall, but just Desert and Scavenger Grounds. I have no way to interact with early, but we can draw into a Fatal Push. We can just draw into any land. I'm gonna go ahead and keep it because it's. I think the upside of this hand is huge with the double Doomfalls. And there's the hub, so we do have to worry about the Siphoner draw. So now, so we need a red source in 2 turns. And that, of course, was not what we wanted to draw into. It was one of the worst cards. So Fatal Push, so the outs we have is 4 Fatal Pushes, and we have any red land here. And my opponent doesn't have it anyway, so... All right, so let's see if we can find... And there was the Fatal Push, which is now a lot weaker, though, because there wasn't a... Yeah, so we do need to draw an Azor's Gateway, a land, any red source. I mean, this could get out of hand. Oh, it's a Lifecrafter's Bestiary, so now we definitely want to draw a red source, because that's the card that's just going to get my opponent a lot of value. And look at that, better lucky than good. Let's go ahead and Abrade the Lifecrafter's Bestiary. We still do have the Fatal Push up. We also have Doomfalls now. And now I really feel we're in the driver's seat. I'd love to hit another red land and then just start the Chandra train. So Servant is something I'll probably just Fatal Push here. And it appears my opponent did not hit their land. We did not hit the right land either. So I think we'll still play the Ifnir Deadlands and go ahead and rip out a card. Holy cow! Winding Constrictor galore. Quads on the Winding Constrictor. So there's one of them. And we do have the cut for it. And also allows us to rip out another one. So we'll start with the Doomfall. And see what our opponent drew into, a Spell Pierce. Spell Pierce is actually okay here. Well, because my opponent can draw into... Ay, ay, ay. We could just take out another Winding Constrictor and get one with the Spell Pierce. Yeah, well, let's get the Spell Pierce because we want to cut this. Alrighty. So there's 2 Winding Constrictors in my opponent's hand. We've taken care of 2 of them. Thing is, the payoff of the Winding Constrictor is going to be good if 1 lands. We get to cut another one. Still no land by my opponent. We're assuming there's not going to be another Spell Pierce draw. We Winding Constrictor and 1 other. Gonti is pretty good here, but... Well, yeah, because we can like hit opponent's cards. I think Gonti's fine. Ooh, beautiful Scarab God coming underneath there. All right, sweet. So 2 cards from my opponent. Can throw out another Constrictor. And we are going to use my opponent's Scarab God against. Thing is, my opponent does have a lot of upside with one unknown card in hand. Watch it be a Verdur's Gearhulk. Just a Gonti of my opponent's. Okay, not that big of a deal. There is some goodies, though, my opponent can get, like a Vraska's Contempt. I don't think I'm going to use this at the beginning of my upkeep to get a Servant. I'm going to try to be able to cut my opponent's Gonti and then get it back. So I have nothing in my... I mean, that's the plan. So let's see. I could, yeah, get back a Servant and then Scry to try to land, but I think I just rather... Sweltering Suns doesn't work too well. Well, now I'm wishing I would have done it the other way, but not a whole lot here. So would I rather cut the Gonti or cut the Constrictor, or just get a Constrictor back? I could cut Gonti and attack him with Scarab God. It's just, I want these Constrictors gone because they're actually really, really potent against... Yeah. We're going to get in for some damage. This also allows, if my opponent did not get a Vraska's Contempt off my top, that I'm in pretty decent shape. Just a Chandra. Now Chandra's okay here. It can kill a Gonti. Yeah, that is absolutely fine. Because now I can just start. I'm surprised. Oh, because my opponent wants to keep it back. Yeah, I don't care about that. It's funny, if I draw a red source, we could go Sweltering Suns, but I think we just use the mana correctly. Oh, I can't even use Scarab God because I don't have the right mana. Takes a blue. Okay, so yeah, that's a tough. Hey, but we do draw the red source, so that is a huge. And so I can actually go Chandra. Should we go Chandra and yeah, that's a better play. So Chandra and then plus Chandra and then cast the Sweltering Suns. And now that's pretty much game. Yep. So all of my opponent's namesake card with the Whiny Constrictor are gone. So we don't have to worry about a Whiny Constrictor now, which we've seen Rishkar and Walking Ballista, so I'm sure it's a pretty heavy version. And here comes the Glint Sleeve Siphoner. I'm actually not too worried about it, as we're still in pretty good shape. We have the Ifnir Deadlands. Yeah, too bad we don't have a way to actually generate blue mana. We'll go ahead and just exile top card of my library. We'll go ahead and cast it. Go ahead and cut that. I should have actually waited. There's a Duress. We'll just get rid of the Duress underneath it. And swing in with the Scarab God. Alrighty. Looking good. Looking good. So I'm not, yeah, I'm pretty sure my opponent just scooped there. So pretty easy. I mean, my opponent had some clunky draws there, but quad on the Whiny Constrictor, there's a Torment of Hailfire coming up. Let's go ahead and play another one, but I think it was a pretty good showing of the deck. All right, match 2. I think this is of course this is a mulligan because we only have one source. This one's much better. We have the Primal Amulet. We have a Chandra that we can throw on the top. So, barring any incredibly explosive draw, we have, I think, what we need to compete. So I'm actually going to go the Mountain, and then if there is something that we can Magma Spray, we will spray it. Yeah, the Primal Amulet, I'm trying to think if it wants to be a 1 of or a 2 of in this deck. We have a Chart of Course, so this is going to be a little bit difficult of a matchup just because they get a lot of value. The Magma Sprays are really good in this match, though. So Fumigate and, okay, actually, I have not a clue what we're going up against. So we have a Torment of Hailfire, which could be good. I want to, of course, draw land. So we can get Chandra out. Chandra is typically pretty good versus these decks. The thing is, though, the Godfrey's Gift decks are definitely going to be one of the harder matchups. Same if this is a cycling deck. Just another Chart of Course. And yeah, I still don't know what this is. We still haven't a clue how, if this is a, that was the worst card to draw into. We need an Azor's Gateway. We will cycle away this Magma Spray to end a turn. Double Torment of Hailfire is what it gave us. Yuck. So this is probably going to be Anointed Procession. Yucky, yucky. We're still going to cycle this, even though it's good versus... All right, so there we have a Doomfall. We can play next turn if there's nothing better. I'd like to get this... Oh, well, we'll play it. And we will rip out a card. So we have another Anointed... we have an Ixalan's Binding, another Anointed Procession. Ixalan Binding's actually really annoying. There's still nothing my opponent can do with. We'll rip out another Anointed Procession, possibly. We don't worry about the Anointed Pouncer, though. I actually think it's the Binding we take. So my opponent actually doesn't have a very good hand. This is just trying to get a bunch of creatures back from the graveyard, but it's not going to work with the Pouncer. I guess the Sunscorched Champion could come back as a bunch of 4/4s. So we definitely need to get the the Chandra online. Is that what my opponent's going to do? Is just cast. My opponent's going to be super greedy here, so put out another one. Okay, well, this at least allows for Chandra, and we will go exile top card of my library, which was a mountain. I wanted a mountain. So I think that this is going to, my opponent's going to go for the Sunscorched Champion and throw away the Dorn Pouncer. Get a bunch of creatures. So what I need to find is, yeah, that actually is going to be tough. Maybe it was the Anointed Procession I had to kill. So, yeah, yuck. We have to draw into a an Hour of Devastation, I think, is the only thing we can do. And that just got rid of the Adorned Pouncer. I don't know, I'm feeling pretty good post-sideboard because I think this deck is pretty terrible if you disrupt their hand. You get rid of Anointed Processions, you get rid of other stuff, then they're looking to try to 2-for-1. And my deck does pretty good against that, so we can bring in the other Hour of Devastation. But, again... I can kill one of them, I can kill two of them. But I think I'd rather try to find an hour. Just a Desert of the Glorified, huh? Well, that's terrible. I don't think I care about trying to protect Chandra. Maybe I should. But the way we get back from this is we get an Hour of Devastation off the top. So it's going to be a key card in the post sideboard. Wonder if my opponent just goes for me rather than splits it. Nope. See, I don't know, the deck's just way too Anointed Procession dependent. So Lost Legacy is going to come in and rip it out. Duresses will come in as well. But Torment of Hailfire does nothing with the amount of creatures on board. But if we do hit that Hour of Devastation, though, it's pretty much a wrap. My opponent's going to smartly not go that direction. Acid Extraction's terrible. We at least are going to survive. So I'm sure Rivulet's just going to crack to try to mill. Self-mill. Which finds another Anointed Pouncer. Scavenger Grounds are also going to be really good in this matchup. Magma Sprays I'll keep in as well because they hard cast. I don't know if my opponent tried. My opponent's going to have to cast cards, though, if I rip out the enablers. Again, I think post-sideboard this is going to be really, really good. So here we can go Essex Extraction. And a Magma Spray. And that means we survive, so it gives us one more turn. And I overspent. Whoops. Doesn't matter, though. And there is the Eternalize. It brings out a bazillion tokens. So basically we have to hit an Hour of Devastation. Cycling this does not allow us because we'd still be one off. So, yep. Lame. Possibly again I should have, yeah, I probably should have got rid of the other Anointed Procession, but that's still getting two I think I would have just been outdrawn by that point. And we don't have anything coming up. Fatal pushes are okay, but I think that we can actually just take out the fatal pushes, put in the duresses. Abrades are also kind of weird. I think we will go treasure map over Abrade, because Abrade doesn't kill a lot of things. Gonti's kind of fun. So is Angrath. Vraska's Contempt is still decent, but I don't know if we actually need it. And we definitely want this Lost Legacy. So 4 cards can come out. I don't think we need like Unlicensed Disintegration. That's kind of weird. Vraska's Contempt we can keep in just because Essex Extraction is really bad. The Sweltering Suns doesn't actually hit anything. So I'm going to take those out as well. So we could think about putting back in Unlicensed Disintegrations or Vraska's Contempts just because they're hard removal spells. But I don't see we need more than 2. In fact, I think that would be the other cut. So Magma Sprays are still okay. Fatal Push is actually still okay because it can get rid of the tokens coming back. So I could say Fatal Push over Contempt. Our 3-drop is kind of weird though. I think maybe we do need another 3-drop just so if we're going to get the Azor's Gateway flipped. We do have 5-drops now that can be put in that place though. But I mean, I'd rather have another one we can hit in the 3-drop slot. Maybe just Sweltering Sun's actually better for that reason. Double Sweltering Suns can hit the board. Yeah. So we'll just get rid of an Angrath, and we also will get rid of Vraska's Contempt. Maybe 2 of them and put it back. But then that puts us kind of weird of what. That's fine. Yeah, sure. All right, so let's see Lost Legacy here. Maybe Lost Legacy needs to be put more in the sideboard against these type of decks because Lost Legacy is super good versus all-in decks that basically, again, this deck really only can Anointed Processions or bust, and they have to land it too. All right, yes, we'd like to play first. I'm going to keep it just because it's got Azor's Gateways, and it's got 2 cycling lands, and we usually have time versus a deck like this to get set up. We'll start with 1 Canyon Slow. We'll probably won't utilize the rest of them. All right, so we're going to go ahead and play the Canyon and pass a turn. And an Ivner Deadlands is, of course, not the card we wanted to see, but we get the Gateway online. Next turn, we can cycle a land and get rid of a Gateway. So I'm sure a Chart a Course, no Chart a Course. Okay, so we got Hour of Devastation, beautiful. So let's go ahead and start with the Azor's Gateway. Scavenger Grounds it is. Beautiful, beautiful card. Now my opponent does run Field of Ruin, so we might just want to wait for Scavenger Ground. Didn't we see Field of Ruin? I thought we did. So throw this away. Play a land, and then we'll most likely cycle. Cycle away the Canyon. Now, still haven't hit a Duress or a Lost Legacy. We have 1 turn to do so before those Anointed Processions come out. Still no play by my opponent. We do have the Hour of Devastation that's going to be very good in that aspect. And the Scavenger Grounds, to be honest. So I'm actually okay with the Anointed Procession coming out. Let's go ahead and cycle this away. And of course we find another mountain. So at this point, I think we just want to play the Scavenger Grounds. Utilize it. Possibly just get rid of a Field of Ruin. The Field of Ruin can get rid of my opponent's stuff. I don't think we need another Black Swamp at this point. And there's a Doomfall. Doomfall is actually good here. So we'll throw away the Swamp and go ahead and rip out. If it's 1 Anointed Procession, we rip it out. So just negate. Okay, but a negate is that's a card that can't get Devastation. If New Rivulet comes out, here's the Anointed Procession. So again, we wanted to try to race that out. Doesn't work, but we're getting a lot of activations off this gateway. There's a Cut Ribbons. I think we actually can throw away the Cut Ribbons, but I'm going to play a Deadlands, and we can use the Deadlands for the gateway. And at this point, Cut Ribbons can be our 4-drop. And unfortunately, though, we do not hit a relevant card. Now we're having kind of the opposite problem. We're getting flooded with this. Hostile Desert. So if we still draw the Lost Legacy, though, I can name it Adorned Pouncer, for example. We can name probably the Champion of Wits would be the right card to name. There is the Adorned Pouncer. Just going to hard cast it, so let's actually hope for a Magma Spray. And there's Chart a Course. Which does not find a creature. All right, so another hour of devastation. Not sure if we need multiples. We're going to throw out the other if near Deadlands because it gives us Scavenger Grounds activations. We're going to go for this, and now we can throw out the Unlicensed Disintegration. So we actually have some pretty good payoffs here. So we have 0, 2, 4, 3. So we do have the 5 in hand. We have a nice little... Not worried about Adorned Pouncers at the moment. Still have not seen a Duress or a Magma Spray or a Chandra. And the Ixalan's Binding, that's annoying on the Azor's Gateway. We don't need any of the cards underneath it, though. Whatever. Can't cast another one either. So that angle is now toast from our opponent. We do now get a treasure map, which I'm okay with. So we'll go with the Field of Ruin. And that gives us a way to take care of the Hostile Desert. So we're just going to go here and here for a treasure map. And we'll go ahead and scry one, put that on bottom, and pass a turn. Unfortunately, this Adorned Pouncer is being very annoying. Good news, too, is the Azor's Gateway got rid of another Azor's Gateway. So I don't think one of our Unlicensed Disintegrations, the Cut Ribbons, all of those are things we don't need. Where's the Magma Sprays? Nowhere to be found. Or the Veracity, if I did take those out, though. Now I'm thinking about it, probably was better. There's the Champion. If my opponent does put creatures in the graveyard, we might go for a kill on... I think I can wait a turn, though. So what we're going to do is we're just going to scry with the treasure map. Put that on bottom. We don't have to draw another one of those, thankfully. We can cast the Primal Amulet. I do have to worry about negate because we still haven't found a Duress. So, ugh. We will throw out the Primal Amulet. See if this gets out of negate. Does not. See, I think I agree with that with my opponent. It's probably not the right play. We don't have double red either. We do have treasure map that's flipping for double red, though. So here comes the Sun Scorched Champion. Which does have to take out a card, which is going to be an Endured Pouncer. So I'm assuming there's a negate in my opponent's hand. And I'm taking 4. Ay, ay, ay. Still 3 cards in my opponent's deck. I think the card disadvantages come from the lands, though, that we have. So gotta assume there's a lousy negate in my opponent's hand. So we still do want to scry. We can utilize just another If Near Deadlands to treasure map scry. That's an interesting card, but I think we're going to bottom it. Where's a cut ribbons? So let's go. There's a negate in hand. This is BS. Okay, Hour of Devastation, because the problem is if we Hour of Devastation, I won't have enough mana to do Hour and here comes the negate. So I just want to cut ribbons. My opponent will then use another Adorn Pouncer. I could do that. See, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, we're 1 off. And then the whole problem is it gets back to Adorn Pouncer, which then, because I don't want the stuff. This is so gross. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And then it takes 1, 2. And plus I don't want to use that. So we're just going to cut. Again, this might get us into another negate, but double negate, that's just variance there, not on our side if that's the case. Okay, so my opponent got super greedy, and it's gonna get punished for this. We go down to a very low life count too, so I got to worry about that hostile desert. But I think that I'm okay now. Do I need to do duress at all? Finally a duress. Chart a course, and there is a Vizier of Many Faces, which is super annoying. We do get rid of the chart a course. Well, we'll cast it. Black, black. Or red, red. Okay, boom, boom. So now we have the Hour of Devastation. It does flip. And we also get to unfortunately we have to get rid of our cut ribbons out of the let's go ahead and sack a treasure to draw a card. There's a Doomfall. Doomfall can get Champion of Witch right now. It can get both of them. Awesome. All right, so now we're into top deck mode. Really into top deck mode. Fortunately, I had to use both my treasures to get there. My opponent can use the Rivulet. Which is very annoying. But did not find, just found something for the hostile desert. So I'm going to go to a 1. Had perfect mana there too. So I go to a 1. Gaunty is definitely fun. Do need to keep up the right mana for the Field of Ruin, which we still do have. We'll Gaunty and find a search for Azcanta. And do we have enough to do search and Field of Ruin? Yes, we do. So we will add blue, and now we have the search. It's going to be a very close game. Do need to play quicker on the next game, though. That's the one thing about this deck, though, is a lot of decisions to be made. My opponent topped a land, but my opponent had one other card. That was the top. I'm not sure what my opponent has in hand. One Adored Pouncer on the bottom, 2 Champion of Wits taken care of. And Gaunty will go to the graveyard. That actually helps me because it's closer for the search for Azcanta. So we will search. No, we don't want Gaunty in the graveyard, as Gaunty's a great card. And I guess we'll just take the Anointed Procession. That was a terrible card. Yeah, I can't even really do anything with that card. But it's one less Anointed Procession. So 3 lands and Anointed Procession. So opponent has a bunch of lands on the bottom. And there's another Anointed Procession. Jeez. Yes, we'd like to put Duress in the graveyard. We'll cycle away the desert, find another desert. Ugh, that's gross. And we can cycle it away as well. And we don't want to Duress, so just gonna get in here with Gaunty. 2 of my cut ribbons are in the graveyard, plus I don't really have a good... Yeah, this is gonna be a grindy match. My opponent also has like Ixalan bindings they can draw into to get rid of the search. Just a Field of Ruin. Field of Ruin's gonna take care of my Field of Ruin. And in response, we will sack it. No, we won't. That's fine. as that's going to flip over my search for Azcanta, so. I wonder if I do want to use Field of Ruin on the 1, 2. No, we're good now because that's 7. Huh. Do I want to put Scavenger Grounds in the graveyard? No. All right, my opponent is down to a 24. And we have nothing in my opponent's hand. Just, oh, search is actually good. But we can get rid of graveyards from now on. After mine flips. Which it's got to flip here. Can't cast it, so yes, it goes in the graveyard. And yes, we'd like to transform. Another swamp, might as well play it. I guess we have the Field of Ruin if my opponent's card flips. So we're going to go ahead and get a... I think a Magma Spray is actually better here. But we're going to find that Torment of Hailfire. It's going to happen. Opponent keeps the card on top. Must have liked that card. And then procession number 3. How'd that happen? They shuffled. Oh yeah, the Field of Ruin shuffled it back in. Like, we know that's on the bottom. Oh, ridiculous. Okay, so a swamp. We'll play the stupid thing. And we'll dig. Unfortunately, that's our copy spell. Another Primal Amulet. There's Angrath and Scorpion God. Oh, this is a very good. I guess we'll go with Chandra. And getting the empty Joe. Found the last Azor's Gateway. And we are in good shape here. Only 5 minutes remaining, though, was the problem. So we're going to have to play the next match very quickly. And having this like weird MTGO lag the longer it goes on. You need to fix this nonsense. Oops, I let the champion hit. That was my bad. That was oh wow. I was not paying attention. Oh, that's going to kill me. I was not paying attention. I apologize. Messed up big time. We won this match. I don't think I was going to be able to beat the other one in time. I don't think there's anything I can actually even draw into. Except like a... Yeah, we have 1 more hour of devastation. But I can't even hit Torment of Hailfire now without my opponent. I did not even see that and push the complaint about lag gets me killed by activations. So we do have 2 draws to try to hit something. That, of course, is not one of them. Another land. And another land. Are you kidding me? And then this can't even hit and stuff now. So I screwed up. That was my bad. I miffed this match because I could have discarded that or scavenger ground that. Oh, MTGO, you are a garbage program. Okay, that was 6 lands in a row right there that it found. So I don't know. We could have ground that out, but I highly doubt we're going to win the next match. Look how much lag there is. Click. It's a whole second of lag. So I guess after this, what you have to do is restart it and get the whatever is causing MTGO to do this. This is how it used to work. Well, there's 8 lands in a row, actually. 9 lands in a row. 10 lands in a row. All right, so 10 lands in a row before it decided to. Late game, too, when I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 lands. So beyond this, there's still a good 6 lands left in the deck, but that was crazy amounts of land. Sweltering Suns would have done it if we had the Copyist spell. And I guess, yeah, didn't we put the Hour of Devastation on the bottom? Didn't I, like, yeah, I could have got the Hour of Devastation with the Chandra instead, but anywho, I'm going to restart Magic. We'll play another match. All right, so I'm going to try one more match. The lag is unbearable. Restarted it and doesn't look like it's... Yeah, look at that. It doesn't look like it's done much here to fix the lag. And in a deck like this, it takes a lot of time to play. I don't think we can play in lag. We'll just end up timing out a lot. I'm going to go ahead and keep this. Usually like to keep highlands. We can cycle off the canyon. We have the Sweltering Suns and the Doomfall as well, so not terrible. So I just will lead off with the Dragon Skull Summit, pass the turn. Anyways, yeah, that was frustrating last match. I think we would have won game 2, but the game 3, there's no way we would have had enough time to finish off the game. Okay. Azor's Gateway is probably the best draw we could have drawn into. It's really good on turn 2. Looks like my opponent is on double Sun Petal Grove. Could be a number of different decks. But we can now start the... I could Doomfall right now, but I think I just want to use my mana. I'm not sure we need a Scavenger Grounds. Double, double, double. All right, so actually we don't need the Swamp. So I'm going to go ahead and draw a card and then discard a card. We'll go ahead and just throw the Swamp away. And now we have a Mountain, and now we can cycle away the Canyon Slow if I want to. It's kind of a... Yeah, we probably do, because we have 2 draws, 3 draws with the Azor Gateway. And we actually do have the... So Thematic Compass. Or if this is trying to ramp for some sort of shenanigan dinosaur, Naya Dinosaurs type deck. Magma Spray is not very good here. The Deadlands isn't very good here. We'll go ahead and Amulet is nice, but I think we can wait a turn. So we'll go the Deadlands and go ahead and Azor Gateway. And this time we'll get rid of a Magma Spray, and we can cycle the... We can actually use the Doomfall now, or do I want to wait for Primal Amulet? Yeah, I'd rather cycle the Sweltering Suns, even though that's a 3-drop, but let's wait and see what ends up happening this turn. Okay, so nothing by my opponent. We're just going to cycle the Sweltering Suns. Finds a Fatal Push. We have a 1, a 2... Yeah, Primal Amulet will be fine here. Desert, we can cycle that. Going to throw Scavenger Grounds. We're going to activate the Scavenger Grounds for Azor Gateway. There's our 3, so Essex Extraction goes away. And we will throw out the Primal Amulet. Now we're in pretty decent shape. 1, 2, 3. Don't have the finisher quite yet. My opponent's just been stuck on lands, though. So this is a ramp deck. This is an Hour of Promise deck. So we don't know what the finisher is here. I'd like to, of course, Doomfall. Yeah, we'll Doomfall here just to see what we're facing. I could see a concession just in response to the Doomfall. Oh man, this is so hard to click through OKs. I'm double clicking. I think that's what killed me last game. So it's Approach the Second Sun is a deck. I think the only card that's, let's get rid of an Hour of Promise. But we know what to name now. We'll go ahead and Azor Gateway. We do have a 1, we have a 2, we have a Sweltering Suns. I'm just going to put a Fatal Push underneath. We can just play a land. It's still fine to play. Oh no, we can't play land. We'll go ahead and cycle this right. Nope. We want to just wait and cycle. So getting flooded with lands, we have a 0, 1, and a 3 without finding the 2 or the 4. So my opponent does find that Thematic Compass. Going to go for the Spring. We're going to go ahead and cycle the Sweltering Sun. Jeez, finds another land, but there's 2 lands we can cycle. And we did get rid of the Hour of Promise. Dragon Skull Summit. Getting ridiculous with the amount of lands we draw in a row on Empty Joe, but that is Empty Joe for you. We'll go ahead and Azor Gateway. Find a Field of Ruin. You gotta be kidding me. We'll go ahead and throw the Field of Swamp underneath. We'll cycle right now. When did this get up to drawing, so we don't have to worry about it quite yet? Cycle right now the Desert. The Shuffler's not broken, everyone. Shuffler is absolutely not broken. And we'll cycle this. And there's an Abrade. I am going to go ahead and kill the Thematic Compass, sure. Other than that was kind of our 2-drop, but I think it's worthwhile to kill it. So 4 Spring to Mind. Tip. Shuffler, it's quads. We saw the quads with Widening Constrictor. We saw quads with Anointed Procession quite in a row. Or, I don't know. Maybe I'm telling you, they keep saying these runs happen on other lands. So how many lands was that in a row? I guess we had the Abrade in between that. Let's go ahead and go for another one. There's a Vraska's Contempt. There's our 4. I'll play a Field of Ruin. I think we do need to go ahead and get rid of, is this an instant? We're going to get rid of the graveyard. I don't need anything in my graveyard. So the Scavenger Ground is going to eat the Ifnir Deadlands. So but we still have lands galore in our hand. I worry about, we're just going to try to thin out here. When it will probably go get an island. And we have a whopping couple lands left in our deck, at least basics. And we'll at least cycle that away. Fatal Push, we have a 1-drop. Unfortunately, there's another land. We'll put the Fatal Push away. Cycle this. And there's the Torment of Hailfire. Awesome. So if we can actually get the Torment of Hailfire to a card to put under this, we win the game next turn. So, all right. And just even casting a Torment of Hailfire, it gets dumbed down by 1. That's a pretty significant Torment of Hailfire. We do need a 2 or 5 off the top. And there's an Hour of Promise. Is not able to get the zombies. So that's going to be good. But now in approach range, can't believe my opponent was able to draw out this well. This is so ridiculous. So, can my opponent just survive a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8? So that's 20. Yeah, can easily survive that by discarding cards, so it's pointless at the moment. So I think we'll cycle the Canyon Slow. And now we have Fatal Push, so we'll Azor's Gateway away the Fatal Push and find another slow. So this is just absolutely ridiculous. Is that all of them? I can't draw another Canyon Slow, right? Yep, all the Canyon Slows, all the Desert of the Mind Glorifieds, all the basic lands are also, my opponent has a card in hand called Approach the Second Suns. We have to now lose the game next turn or flip this Azor's Gateway, which needs a 2 or a 5. There are no lands left in our deck. Hey, we found it. Okay, I can calm down. So we win. Jeez, though, that was more frustrating than it needed to be. There is the second to last land left in our deck. Yeah, that literally is the second land, I believe, left in our deck. Out of all the lands, one more skull. We have one more, but, all right. We're fine. We flip it over, but this game was way more frustrating than it needed to be. And even if that was a cut ribbons, we would have been able to win. So I think I need to put more Lost Legacy, and I'm sick of these decks that have no win cons outside of their approach type thing. If that's going to be the case, we'll bring in Duresses. We don't need cut ribbons is very, very awkward. I could cut ribbons my own Gonti, which I think we're going to do. So we have Duresses. I don't need Magma Sprays or Fatal Pushes. We're just going to have to rely on the Duresses at the 1-drop. That makes it a lot weird. Vraska's Contempt can also come out because we did not see anything. Dispossess is not a thing that I think we need to worry about, or Hour of Devastation, or I think I just might be running the Sweltering Suns just as something to run. Because we still have to bring in 3 cards. There's the treasure maps are fine. We still have Braids. Braids at least gives us a target for that little thematic compass. But I'm not the biggest fan of that either. I'd rather go down in the count there. Is there anything else that we can remotely bring in that is viable? Just like a 4-drop that we can cycle. And I guess a 2-drop we can cycle. And I don't want Magma Spray, though. I just don't think it does anything. So bring in another 4-drop we can cycle. Oh, there's Lost Legacy. Almost forgot to bring in the good card here. So we'll submit this. So yeah, the cut ribbons are very, very awkward to try to get into the graveyard. We do have just that. That's the only way we can discard them. I think that might be something to bring in, like maybe Cathartic Reunions in the side for some deck like this. All right, so this is a good hand. We have the Azor's Gateway. We are low on lands this time, but we have everything our deck needs. So still think, yeah, because we can Duress the next turn. Duress isn't that big of a deal. So I do want to Duress over the Gateway, I believe, here. Because we can get a Spring to Mine out. Gonna negate it. That's fine. Still a card for card, exactly what we want to do. And then next turn we have a couple of options. So my opponent, I think, wants that Spring Mine. Nope. Okay, so this allows us to... Yeah, I don't care about the compass. We can actually abrade the compass if I want to. We've drawn some good cards here. So I could abrade it. Yep, that's fine. You never know if my opponents can be stuck on lands again. Okay, did have the Spring to Mine. So I think we can go 1 turn without a Doomfall. That does allow for the Hour to happen. Unfortunately, we don't have the right mana. Let's go ahead and go Azor's Gateway. And go ahead and cycle. And we will get rid of the Ifnir Deadlands. And play our second. Okay, so we're in decent shape next turn. No Hour, awesome. So it's just going to be a 4-mana Ixalan's Binding. Don't really care too much about the Azor's Gateway because, in all honesty, we're probably not going to go that route. So Scavenger Grounds is nice to get rid of. The Spring Mine. I think we just go Chandra. plus it, and then do Doomfall. And there's the Hour of Promise. Not sure I actually care too much about the Hour of Promise. The thing is, the Regal Caracal, my opponent tried to be tricky with me and bring in a card that actually can kill Chandra, but we kept in the Sweltering Suns just because they cycle. So that works out well for us. So I wonder if that's the right play, just to plus mana. I do believe it is, so that we can go Sweltering Suns. And 1, 2, 3, 4, we can get rid of the Spring Mind. I'm not quite sure it's necessary. But this also allows us to... Oh, wow, yeah, I actually can't. That Ixalan's Binding's annoying. So we will... get rid of the Spring Mind out of the graveyard. Does find the Compass, which is going to give some... You control 7 or more lands. That's when it flips. All right, so we have a couple of options here. We can, of course, Lost Legacy. Let's see what Chandra gets first. Oy, oy, oy. Yeah, that's fine. We'll cast it. I actually do want a land on top. What does this Thematic Compass do? Untap attacking creature. Yeah, we could care less about that. This looks like it's just going to be an approach, which I could care less about because we lost Legacy at next turn. And probably won't even ult Chandra. I think we can just plus it and then... Mana's pointless here because we don't... Yeah. Let's go ahead and scry. Put that on top because most likely we just want it exiled. So, because there's nothing better to do with it, so Lost Legacy. And get rid of your one-trick pony deck. So now it's just Hour of Promises that are the win con. So we have 2 Regal Caracals left and 3 Regal Caracals left. And an Hour of Promise. So I do have to worry about a cast out. I think we just ult because I don't think there's a way that they can get around Chandra. Well, there's only 3 outs my opponent can draw into. But this saves Chandra. Don't know if that's... Usually you always ult Chandra. I'm going to really... if this ends up being an Ixalan Binding, that just punishes, big time punishes me. Just going to cycle that. And just finds another Thematic Compass. And gets a land. So there is like Carnage Tyrants. My opponent did bring in some other ways to win this, but it's going to be very, very tough. So we're going to go ahead and scry. And put that on bottom. And then do we have another Azor's Gateway? Do we have the... There's the emblem. So do I have the lethal here? Because that does 5, takes my opponent down to 18. They have 1 card in hand, and no, we're going to wait till next turn to utilize the Torment of Hailfire. Now there are negates my opponent can draw into. I actually want my opponent just to like drop a Carnage Tyrant here. But that sucks with 2 Azor's Gateways. City Blessing. Go ahead and draw a card. And there's the Regal Caracal. Kind of annoying. Can't do a lot with it. Cut's fun though. Do I just do pop a big treasure? So, or pop a big Torment of Hailfire. Let me do the math. 3, 4, 5. Has 5 cards, so it can absorb 15 damage. So we can only add 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, we're not even close. So we're going to cut on the Regal Caracal, which kills off a life-linking cat. So let's exile top card of my library. Just a swamp. Okay. Let's sack a treasure. Another cut. Okay, that one's actually good. We'll go cut to the Regal Caracal. And kill a cat. Might as well. I don't think we want to go the route of... And we'll do another one. Cut. And this one goes to the noggin. And then next turn we should be able to win. And yep, we're good. Arch of Araska. See, my time clock's very low again. I know I've been talking a lot during this entire stuff, but a lot of that's just this initial lag that it's causing per action. So I don't think we can play another one. It's just too much of a liability to try to go to game 3s with this deck. Another treasure map, not a big deal. We are just going to add some mana. Don't believe my opponent can do anything to this. I think this is plenty of damage. For 8, for 2 cards. Oh yeah, and an 11. So I actually should just cast the treasure map. That's 24 damage. And we take this one down. So I'll play the rest of the matches maybe late tonight on stream. We'll just start off the stream. And then we will brew some decks. I really want to build a Dora the Explorer deck later on. So far 2-1. We'll beat the legit match. Lost against kind of a annoying procession deck. I mean, you see that every now and again, that deck. And then kind of this brew, Hour of Promise. So hope you enjoyed these. Join me at stream later on tonight. Thanks for watching.